Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden, and this homely-looking guy next to me, this is Tim, and this is The Second Legacy, and thank you for stopping by. So this is the episode that pushes into Saturday, so we've got to make it delicious because we film it on Friday, deliver it on Saturday to make sure you have a great weekend, and we have got so much stuff to talk about. We've got a 28th constitutional carry state, like, right there. We've got the ATF circulating drafts about how to infringe upon us further, and then we've got a goofy gun grabbers, which is probably going to make you like blood shoot out of your eyes. But that's what we do here. And please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. And with that, Tim, we're filming on Friday, but we're releasing on Saturday. So how are you on either day? Whatever. It's Friday. Whatever.
Well, because these awkward questions about how I'm doing typically revolve around weather because that's what everybody talks about when they have nothing else to talk about. But this weekend's going to be really nice. Bikes coming out. Anyway, yeah, it's going to be sunny and warm. We haven't had sun in like 6 months.
Wow, that's impressive. You live in Alaska?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
that's impressive. Yeah, well, I have to ask how you're doing though. I know it's awkward, put you on the spot, but I like to bring Tim out. I really like to bring the star of the show in right at the beginning. Let people know what.
Drag me out and flog me publicly and humiliate me and put me on the spot. Yeah, that's what friends do.
No, exactly. It is. I love it. Oh, but you're so good at it. So with that. It's quite the intro, Tim. How about we talk? You know what? It's Friday. You want to talk about the ATF, make blood shoot out of your eyes? You want to talk about constitutional carry number 28? What do you want to talk about first?
Well, let's talk about ATF because that's always fun because that's going to tie into a G3 segment a little later in the episode.
That's true.
Let's get that out of the way, and then we'll tie up with ATF.
Well, let's get it. So. I'm sure you recall back in August of last year, the White House made a big announcement, a big hoopla, to-do, if you will, all around this new rule about who's a dealer and who's not a dealer. You remember that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it turns out they've been busy little bees behind the curtain of the ATF, and there's a 1,300-page document that's circulating. It's a draft for the rule that they're going to be dropping eventually, and it was just leaked. And Tim, would you be surprised if the leak suggests that they're trying to say every single gun sale requires a background check? Would you be surprised?
Oh, no, absolutely not. To do something like that would take an act of Congress, not the pen stroke of ATF, but ATF is on a roll. They just like making up laws as they go along. As of late, they keep getting smacked down in the courts with it, but that's not deterring them whatsoever from the mission of continuing to legislate from a bureaucracy.
Yeah. That's true. In fact, as always, you were so prescient. We're going to go into all those things right now. Man, this is why I partnered with you. You are on it. So if we go to number one, Doctor, I'm just going to show the article for reference. ATF whistleblowers sound alarm on Biden admin proposal that effectively bans private gun sales. I mean, I'm personally shocked. This came out yesterday. So let me show you a few of the high-level stuff, and then we're going to kind of break this down. So this is number two. This is what they're alleging in this leak, okay? Whistleblowers at the ATF, we know how that works out per the misclassification of ATF agents, right? Are sounding the alarm on a reported 1,300-page draft document that allegedly justifies a proposed rule that would effectively ban private gun sales, according to a watchdog group. Now, this watchdog group, Tim, is called Empower Oversight, and this is what they say in a letter that they sent to the ATF. Quote, the fact that inside ATF sources are blowing the whistle on this draft rule is an indication of what a difficult position it would be, it would put the ATF in. ATF agents did not sign up to go after law-abiding citizens for private sales protected under the Second Amendment. Now, the thing that's really fascinating about this? That would 100% create a registry. 100%, like without any doubt.
Well, yeah, I mean, they already track every single sale there is through a gun store.
But Tim, it is not searchable.
It's in a non-searchable. I mean, I know Diddlebum pays extra to make sure that that they can't search in Adobe. They have a special version, but perhaps if you have a non-special version, you accidentally find it on your laptop by no nefarious actions of your own, you might be able to search it. But anyway, we won't get into all that. But yeah, if you go down, then you force everybody. Anytime they want to sell a piece of privately owned property, they have to seek the government's approval. And in doing that, they have to go through a background check system, which registers them, which ATF can then not search, but have a not searchable database, kind of
medium.
Yeah. Right. It's like jumbo shrimp. It's an oxymoron. We have a non-searchable database.
That's right. That's interesting. Are you alluding by chance, Tim, to the amazing speed at which all of the ATF employees, when they're looking for gun records, after an incident happens, and they search through 900 million records with no search function, and they get the results within like 4 hours. Are you questioning their ability to?
It's an all hands on deck. All 30 of them get in a room together. Yeah, and they start looking for that one record.
900 million. They nail it. They nail it every time, and they know where it was purchased. They know the serial number. Tim, listen. Do not call into question the skills of our federal government agents, because they are so good. They don't use databases. They are the databases.
Yeah.
They're the precogs, actually.
Yeah. They hire idiot savants that can like memorize anything. And it's like
a bunch of Rain Men are in there.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
5,265, 5,200.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's them.
Exactly.
Yep.
It was an AK-47. That is 466,431 articles. That one is located on June 21st. I mean, like, good Lord, guys, come on. Does anyone believe this crap? Come on. Like, 900 million records, and you guys can find it within 3 hours. Yeah, there's no search database there.
Yeah.
No.
They're paper records, but they only scan them in a non-searable format.
Exactly.
But it's really a bunch of paper. That's what Diddlebomb says. Yeah. So.
Yep, that's exactly right. They go, maybe this, Tim, this might be a little hyperbolic. It might be a bit much, but you know what? We're filming on Friday. I don't care. The scene in 300 where Leonidas goes to the what's her name? The Oracle, and it's the girl, and she's like doing all this stuff. Maybe they have a chamber like that in the ATF, and they say exactly where it is. Maybe that's what it is.
Could be. Well, maybe there's. What was it, Operation Looking Glass or something the CIA did back in the 60s or 70s where they were trying to do remote viewing? Maybe they have remote viewers now at ATF.
Ooh.
They shut down Operation Looking Glass. Maybe they moved them over to ATF, and now they can just remote view your gun room and stuff like that. Who knows? Anyway, Rumble Strip.
That's valid. Rumble Strip. That was innovatively creative. But we're back. We are back. It's okay. So it's Friday, Tim. Don't you bust my Friday. Yeah. You got good weather coming tomorrow, remember?
Yeah, that's right. Friday shenanigans.
That's right. So how's this for a last name? And this part I know you are going to love. I can already see your heart pumping and growing like so much. This is number 5. So the watchdog group in question here reported that the current draft document is reportedly being overseen by senior policy counsel Eric Epstein, rough last name right now, who previously worked as the Phoenix Field Office's division counsel in the precursor operation to Fast and Furious.
Oh, no, not Fast and Furious. Yeah.
It doesn't feel good.
How do these people
Happy
still
feeling
have
gone?
Jobs? There is no accountability in these bureaucracies, folks.
Nope.
They literally run illegal operations, and they stick around even after it comes to light.
Yeah. I mean, like, and it's interesting. To our credit, Tim, I'm gonna toot our own horn a little bit. All of our stories have been quite A plus B equals C this week. They've really flowed nicely, right?
Yeah.
So we did an episode yesterday about the ATF and how Grassley and Ernst were saying they need accountability for misclassifying jobs in order to get more money for those people, basically fleecing the government. And it was all about accountability. And now here we are looking at the guy who was literally involved in the operation that led into Fast and Furious. And now he's talking about putting a draft together and overseeing 1,300 pages about how every single gun sale is going to be a federal firearm background check. Yeah. I mean, come on.
I mean, it takes 1,300 pages to kind of try to convince somebody that might actually read those 1,300 pages. Nobody in Congress will. But to the mental gymnastics that takes 1,300 pages to justify. I mean, seriously. You would think that if they're going to make the case for this, it's just simple matter. Hey, look, we really need background checks on everything, and here's what we propose. Like 2 pages, 1,300. They know it's a hard sell, and they're doing some research and trying to figure out a way to sell this to somebody. 1,300.
Yep.
Pages.
Now it's important to note 1,300 pages. It's an important note to say. Now this is a draft. Now things can be taken out, which rarely happens in the government, or things can be added in, which often happens in the government.
Yeah.
But it is a draft, and we'll keep you apprised to when they come out with non-drafty drafts through these watch jobs. But Tim, again, a credit to your foresight, and you're amazing. This is number 6, because this, I think, is a very prescient point you brought up. Quote, such an expansive rule that treats all private citizens the same as federal firearms licensees would circumvent the separations of powers in Congress, in the Constitution, which grants all legislative powers to the Congress. It's seems to be a theme, doesn't it, Tim?
Yeah.
Through this administration, the executive branch has stepped all over Congress. They have stepped all over the judiciary. it's really just the executive branch running roughshod all over all the other branches, and they're supposed to be co-equal. I'm pretty sure I heard that somewhere.
And keep in mind, they're working on this 1,300-page draft to make a massive change to American gun laws, while the Supreme Court is hearing the case on Chevron deference that would take this power away from them.
Exactly. Man, yes, Tim. Exactly right. If they gut Chevron deference, I genuinely don't think even the full gun world understands the impact that will create if they gut Chevron deference.
Yeah.
I mean,
they'll stop stuff like this in its tracks.
I mean, that is a sea change. Chevron deference goes away. These executive bureaucracies lose all their power, and Congress has to actually go back to making law that's what their job is. I mean, like, I don't. It's hard to explain how big of a deal that would be.
Yep.
I mean, that would just be insane. And the last thing for this segment, Tim, to make you give the warm and fuzzies, because this gave me warm and fuzzies. I felt good about it. I did. So this is number 7. When asked for comment on the Watchdog Group's letter, the ATF directed Fox News to the information on the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. Quote, the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, enacted in June 25th, 2022, amended the definition of engaging in business of dealing in firearms to include all persons who devote time, attention, and labor to dealing in firearms as a regular course of trade or business, or to predominantly earn a profit through the repetitive purchase and sale of firearms, the ATF said in a comment. So when you ask the ATF, hey, are you making a rule that you're going to change everything and it's all about, everyone's a dealer now, and they go back to the law they passed that says they're going to do it, I'm like, guys, I'm not feeling good about it. I don't know. I don't know, guys.
And,
it doesn't feel good.
And beyond that, they take that long description of what would classify somebody as being engaged in the business of dealing in firearms, and they're going to distill it down to the word profit. So what they're going to say is, if you sell a gun and you profit from the sale, then you're engaged in the business of dealing in firearms for profit. Therefore, you cannot do that. So presumably, and maybe this is why they have 1,300 pages, because they're going to try to make it so that even if you don't make a profit, they're still going to nail you for it. But
right.
But think about that. So let's say that it goes through with this provision that, if you make even $1 profit, then you're engaged in the business. Well, okay, what if I bought the gun 15, 20 years ago? Do we adjust for inflation? And then what if I don't have record of how much I paid for it 30 years ago? Do we just make an assumption? Is this like the IRS that, we can just make a safe assumption and just like do a Google search and then go for an average? But we're talking about $1 profit here, folks. Maybe even a penny. We don't know just yet.
That's true. That's I like the inflation angle on that. That's good. That's out of the box. It's like there's like a slide ruler and there's like all these.
It's like let's see now. Did you profit from? We calculate 1 cent profit here, and that's 10-year felony, son. Yeah, I mean it's like wow.
You're a dealer. That'll be $250,000, please. Thank you. These people are crazy.
Maybe if you give guns away to like relatives, they're going to charge you with being a nonprofit without being a nonprofit. It's like,
oh, that's a good point.
I shouldn't give them ideas.
No, you shouldn't. Stop it. Like you remember when you went on a roll of like policy decisions where you were just doing such amazing work in France. I remember that. It was a good time. Yeah. It was a good time. Well, enough of that shenanigans with the ATF. This is supposed to be an emotional show. Like we go back and forth. This is on the good fourth side. This is good. South Carolina, Tim, we might have a 28th state becoming a constitutional carry here in a hot minute. So South Carolina Senate passes the open carry bill with the addition of free gun training classes. Okay, so on the headline, immediate thoughts.
Well, I'm just glad to have another state doing it. I don't necessarily agree with having to take classes, even though it's free. I mean, I get why they're doing the free thing because, you shouldn't tax rights, and making somebody pay to take a class to exercise a right just isn't kosher, right? That ain't cool. So, but yeah, I mean, I want more than 28 states. I want all 50. It reminds me of when we were pushing to get concealed carry in the United States. There were just a handful of states 30 years ago that had such laws on the books. And then fast forward to 2024 and all 50 states have some form of concealed carry now, with Illinois being the last one, drug kicking and screaming through the courts.
Right.
So, maybe this will go the same way.
You think it'll be Illinois? Illinois
or California will be the holdout. Well, I mean, there's a number of candidates because the landscape has changed yet again in the last couple of decades. But,
true. That is true.
There's several states out there vying for the most anti-freedom state in the union, and Illinois is certainly one of them.
I'm putting my top 3: California, Illinois, and New York. I don't know. I just feel good about it. I don't know.
Yeah,
Massachusetts
that's a good
sleeper, though.
Yeah.
It is a sleeper, though. Sometimes Massachusetts like kind of get you right there. They like pop out Elizabeth Warren or Ed Markey and it's like surprise.
Yeah, right.
it's like we had so much freedom here once. Anyway, um,
and every once in a while,
it was a good
Maryland will
time.
come out of the woodwork, come out of left field and like, oh, hey, hold my beer. I got one for you. So
Exactly right. But Maryland, it seems like, I think Maryland, it feels like the amateur leagues. Like they kind of want to get in on it. It's kind of like New Jersey. They're kind of like, I know you guys have main market share on the tyranny, but we really want to get some of that too. And everyone's kind of like, hey, we have our A-listers. You hush. I don't know. I feel like that. They always come out and they're like, now we're gonna be the toughest. It's like, no, New York, California pretty have that locked down. Illinois is also there too. I find these things funny, Tim.
It is funny watching them race to the bottom. But anyway.
That's exactly right. All right, so now this is going to be something that I see a lot, and in this scenario with constitutional carry, we saw something similar in Florida, right? So there were, of course, Democrats on the left saying, no, this will, kill the entire planet, and the sun will stop will cease shining. It will actually start the, implosion of our solar system if we do this. Of course, that's natural. You see it coming for the children. But then this is where it gets interesting. We have people on the gun rights side saying, I want all or nothing. And then I think this is an interesting piece. It is, it's 100% normal. Absolutely. Because in Florida, for example, we had last year, we were talking about constitutional carry, and there was a really big resistance to the constitutional carry in Florida because it didn't contain open carry. You remember that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right. So my thought on this, and this is just my personal stance, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts. I think this is an important discussion. Is this a case of letting, or that approach rather, letting the perfect be the enemy of the good and then going for more later? Or do you think more in line with the, no, give it all or nothing? Where do you align on that? I'm just curious.
So you got to play politics, right? And this is something I've said for many years. If you take a look at what the anti-gunners do to us, they achieve their goals through incrementalism. They'll take they'll take that because they know it's a step towards their end goal. And that is a solid strategy. And then on the gun side, many times is what we're talking about. We dig in our heels and say, absolutely not, perfect or nothing. And that's not necessarily always a winning recipe. Now, it has worked for us in the past. You take a look at like what they did, Open Carry Texas did, right? They pushed for and finally got. I didn't think that they were going to be able to do it, but they did it. So, but if I had my rathers, I would say we have to use incrementalism against those using it against us. Fight fire with fire. Take what we can get, but constantly keep pushing that border further and further out. Like if we can get that, then sure, it's not perfect, but we can make it more perfect. Once this settles in, we find out, hey, the crime rate didn't go up, it actually came down. Now we can justify going the next step because it always plays out to our favor. Every time we get concealed carry in all 50 states, or when we start pushing constitutional carry, the national average of violence in the United States continues to trend downwards. We have more guns going out there, we have more people carrying them, and the violence and the violent crime is coming down. So it does work to our favor if we employ incrementalism, because when we do incrementally improve our rights and improve access to people's rights, then that crime rate's going to come down. That we can use that as a catalyst to say, okay, let's go to the next step. Let's go ahead and fix this up because it wasn't a perfect implementation. So I really think that it would be in our best interest to consider doing that incrementalism against those that are using it against us.
I completely agree. I want to add one thing to that because you are 100% correct. Absolutely. They use incrementalism against us, and they just slowly move the field just through 5-yard run plays. First down, boom. First down, boom. That's what they do. Right.
Right.
And I think that one thing that they don't do very well, and they're talking about the left, the gun controllers, they will push as hard as they possibly can, regardless of what state they're in. Right. So, and I think situational awareness is key when we're doing this on the gun rights side. The left, if they're in Massachusetts, they go full bore, and they will basically be told by the Democrats in power, and they will say, okay, listen, we can get this, but you can't go further than this because this is what we can accommodate politically. Right? They do it every time. Like when you look anywhere across the United States, wherever they're pushing, they will go as far as the electorate would allow. Right? I think that's an important piece on the gun rights side as well. So in Texas, in your example, you have the political capital and you have the political push and ambition to do something and push for open carry like that. Right? Now, in South Carolina, which has a tendency to be Republican, but also kind of rhino establishment Republican. That's kind of the South Carolina's main core Republican Party is very establishment. You're not going to have as much political capital because the supporters of those people are not in the same place as Texas, right? So I think you have to push as far as you can politically, and to your point, go the next year for the next piece. Like, for example, in Florida this year, there was open carry provisions in there to add into constitutional carry. They're talking about revoking the revocation of 18 to 20-year-olds to buy guns and move it back down to 18.
Right.
So I think incrementalism, to your point, is the most effective way to do it, but applied in a stance of where you are locally and what you can achieve. Because if you push for full-on open carry, full-on constitutional carry in a state like, I don't know, give me one that's kind of purple, that's kind of North Carolina. There's a good example. North Carolina is kind of pretty solidly purple. I don't know if you're going to go that far. Now, but I think you could get constitutional carry in time and then basically work into open carry, work into these different pieces. But right out the gate, going the full cake in your mouth, just get the full cake and eat it too. I don't know if that's viable.
Yeah, maybe a better example would be the NFA, right? So we've made pushes to get suppressors off the NFA. Ultimately, we want the NFA gone. And the purists, myself included, would just like to see the NFA gone. It makes sense. We have a solid argument to get rid of it. But the reality is, the political reality of it is, we're going to have to dismantle it piece by piece, incrementally, right?
That's exactly right.
Take out the suppressors, take out the SBRs. That leaves machine guns. But then after we get suppressors and SBRs out of the mix, then we say, what is the point of this anymore? What is the point?
Well,
we're going to keep the NFA on the books for this one item? It's like...
that one item, and also it's taxing a right. I mean, there's lots of reasons, yeah.
Right. But incrementally, we can get to where we want to be. We don't get the immediate gratification of abolishing the NFA tomorrow, but that's not practical. It's not going to happen. We don't have the political capital, and there's not very many politicians that are willing to take that step. They may take a baby step and get suppressors off because they're not technically firearms. We can make that pitch to them. They're safety devices. And then once we get our foot in the door, then we can kick that sucker wide open. And that is the strategy of incrementalism. And it does work if applied, at the right time, at the right instance, for the right cause.
Yeah. No, I think you are absolutely correct in that, and that's a great example. That's I think this is a conversation that I would like to see across a lot more places in the gun world. To be quite honest with you, I think this is a very important conversation. And guys, let us know what you think in the comments field on this one. But the NFA is a great example, Tim. Like, why are suppressors in the NFA? Like, 1934. Your argument was, suppressors are bad because they allow gangsters to run bootlegged alcohol.
I've seen comments that suppressors were added to the NFA because they didn't want people hunting
or poaching or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't make sense. That's not.
I don't know why it was added, but yeah,
it doesn't make sense at all. You could easily get suppressors out of that. It would not be hard to do it.
No,
and
they shouldn't be in there. None of that stuff should be regulated the way that it is. Just the whole taxation thing, we should be able to destroy it on that alone. But again, until we get there, let's take what we can get and push for the bits and pieces, because that's easier for many politicians to swallow, and it makes it more likely that we can be successful.
It's true. That's true. I just had a really inappropriate joke that was in line with a lot of our previous videos, but we're not going to do it because it was in my head and it's going to stay there.
Let's keep it locked away for now. Yes, we have enough male anatomy jokes, I think, to go around for the next week or so.
That's true. How do you know it was male anatomy? Okay, you're right.
Well, because I know you all too well.
I'm not even going to front. Pickles and ding dongs, my man. Pickles and
there you go.
Dongs.
See, out it comes.
Oh, all right. Well,
you just whipped it out.
No big deal though.
And that's a threatening
to me.
Though.
Going back to it was threatening. Was it threatening?
Very threatening.
Oh, look at that.
You just asserted your dominance on me.
Right back to yesterday's video. That's right. I did. Did you feel threatened?
I did.
Did you feel like I was dominant? Oh,
the fact I know you're sitting there with a pickle threatens me. It just does. I just want you to know that right now.
I do.
I'm uncomfortable.
It's attached. I can't do anything about it. It's part of me. It's just here. It's just this is the whole package. You just
okay. Double strip.
All right.
There it is.
Hey. All right. So Tim,
yes.
I think we've done good work right now, but it's time for the coup de grace. It's time for your G3 because Tim got on the internet again.
Yeah.
And this is always a good time.
Twitter is such a great resource for finding just goofy things that gun grabbers will say.
It is.
And so let's throw up number 12, Doc. This we have a guy by the name of Ryan Sheed that has the whole gun grabber thing going on. And he had to make a comment. Somebody posted from the Just Saying account, "What do you see?" And it shows a family standing in a field with a shotgun, a rifle, and a handgun. And of course, Ryan chimes in, "A psychopath grooming future mass shooters." And then he tags Graham Allen. So looking at this picture, this is just a family. This is just a standard American family. and they're standing there with firearms. There's more guns in this country than there are people. There's nothing awkward about this, and there's certainly nothing in this image that would lead you to believe that these are future mass killers, right? My children know how to shoot. Guns are very much a normal part of our life. And in Indiana, just where I live, everybody has them. When I go out and shoot, I hear my neighbors shooting, right? Everybody just, it's like, it's contagious. Everybody just wants to do it when they hear somebody else doing it. It is not bad. It's not evil. There's, not something nefarious going on. And it doesn't make you a psychopath because you want to go out and enjoy the shooting sports. It's perfectly normal. But it's these types of comments that are designed to drive wedges between people and try to label others and cast them in the worst possible light for political ends, including children.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to hit on. I've got two things, if I may add, addendums, if you will. I think you just nailed it. So you're classifying children who are innocent, who have done nothing. Do you think that same post would be if any type of demographic was different? You think that post might not exist? I don't know.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's easy. For a friend.
Yeah, I mean, clearly the family fits the stereotypical gun grabber thing. It's just, who knows if they were wearing a Christian cross, it would just yeah. So
you're right. I bet the guy in the back has a penis. I mean, I bet you he has a penis, and that is very concerning.
Yeah, he's looking like he might wave it around with some authority and intimidate people and scare them. Yeah,
man.
Because he's holding his rifle in an intimidating way across his shoulders like that. Right. I mean, what if there's a farmer on a tractor like 2 miles to the right there? I mean, he's muzzling him, and clearly it's intended to intimidate his neighbor.
And Tim, I don't know if you noticed, but the only way you can carry that gun like that is if there's no magazine in it. I mean,
he has a 5-rounder in there, but it has the nuclear tipped rounds.
Yes.
Yeah.
The nuclear tip rounds. Yeah. Wow. The Joy Behar rounds.
We
that's crazy.
Yeah, we colloquially call them the zip code erasers or deleters. So yeah, it's
zip code erasers. That's good. All right. Yeah. So that was my first addendum. I actually have 3 now. So my second one, Tim, I'm concerned because those aren't assault weapons by the definition of lefties, because the kids are holding a handgun. Oh my goodness. Predominantly used in gang violence and stuff, and then a shotgun. Oh my god, that's not even a semi-automatic shotgun, Tim. So I'm really confused. So is it all guns now? Is it everything that is a gun related?
Yeah.
Is now a mass shooting assault weapon zip code eraser?
Perhaps. But somebody made a comment on my post that I thought was rather interesting. They said, well, why doesn't the girl have a gun? And I said, of bigotry, of course. But no, realistically, what I said, I mean, all kidding aside, is what I said to them afterwards. It's like, so in essence, what we see is a rifle, a pistol, and a shotgun. I'm guessing these are all the firearms this particular family owns. Now, if they had a PCC, I'm sure the little girl would have been holding that. So, yeah.
Or maybe Tim. Oh my God, I can't believe this is even being mentioned on the internet.
I can't believe you're going there. I know where you're going.
Parents, no, you don't. Not yet. That's the next one. Maybe Tim, the parents actually used discretion and said she wasn't ready, so she's not holding a gun. Maybe the parents were actually. Oh my gosh,
that would only be acceptable with hormone blockers. Otherwise, it's bigoted. Just saying.
Now who went where? But you know what? Now I'm going to make it real uncomfortable, Tim. So we're not going to say what I'm saying. We're going to overuse inference here. Are you ready for your inference use?
Mm-hmm.
I think we're making progress here, Tim. I do, because where the location of that video, or excuse me, that photo is taken, and the crop items that are in that photo, I mean, a leftist kind of missed the.
Seemed like an awful easy low punch there, right?
Yeah, I feel like they would have gone for the low hanging fruit on that one, and you know what they didn't.
And screamed
they
racism.
Focused on the guns.
Yeah.
So inference, Tim, inference. So
inference.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're getting better. I think they're getting better, and they are not noticing what they normally would have because the guns have blinded them to the obvious thing to say there. But that's another thing for another time. I just want to throw that out there. Just.
Okay, moving right along. Inference. Okay, moving right along. So we will save ATF for last. Let's move to 14. We'll come back to ATF. So we started with ATF. We'll end with ATF. So number 14, Doc, we have Stevie Joe Payne here. And he's parroting the line. Oh, but look, he has the orange square. So everything that follows the orange square is going to be complete idiocy and just incredible stupidity, right? because the orange square tells the entire world you're an idiot. All right. So
it's a mark of stupid.
It is. It's like wearing a big L on your forehead, just in the form of an orange square. It's the guns, folks. Old Stevie has to say, it's the guns. It's particularly the AR-15 and any and all weapons like it that are single purpose designed for killing people. There's no other reason for this weapon to exist. All right, Stevie.
So all guns?
Pointed sticks, knives, explosives, guns, airplanes. There's not anything you can really name in a modern culture that doesn't have some connection to being originally used or at some point being used in a way to fight wars, right? Even the microwave oven. My grandmother used a microwave oven because she built airplanes during the Second World War, and they used big microwaves to sterilize parts. Later, we would find them in our kitchen. So microwaves were originally used for a war effort.
Oh.
Every single
those weapons of war?
Yes. God. All the technology you engage with, that's human nature. It all connects to, in some way, military action warfare, because nations have this uncanny desire to fight with other nations. So they'll spend huge amounts of their gross national product developing weapon systems. Much of that technology trickles down into the civilian world in the form of just regular items like microwaves and cell phones that you just don't think about. But that technology, the internet, was designed for nuclear war. Okay?
That's true.
It was a stopgap.
That's weird, Tim.
So anyway, the AR-15, folks, we've said this many times. According to FBI statistics, about less than 500 rifles of any type are misused every year in crime to take a life. Less than 500 of any type. That means of the AR-15 type, likely less than 100. A statistical zero in a nation of 330 million people. I'm not downplaying the loss of life. What I'm saying is everything out there, including the stairs in your house, present a clear and present danger to your family more so than an AR-15 does. A swimming pool does. The chemicals underneath your kitchen sink do. AR-15s. But this is what AR-15. Propaganda does, folks. You'll notice this lunatic isn't talking about the actual guns that are used in crime because he wouldn't get anywhere. Because handguns, people aren't ready to give those up, but they're starting to get people convinced maybe we should get rid of the AR-15. So they're going to keep focusing on that like a laser beam, just like machine guns that were taken away in 1986. Up until 1986, when machine guns were taken from us, less than 3 instances in the entire history of the NFA, less than 3 instances of a legally owned machine gun being used in a crime. But yet we lost them. And that's not just a year, folks. That's the entirety of the NFA. 3 misuses of a legally owned firearm.
And it's for the children.
But it's always for the children. So, Stevie, you're an idiot. Children. What do you got to say?
No, hold on. Wow. How do I follow that? Good Lord. That you know what? That was the full gambit. That was the full Tim. That was all of it. All I was going to say was just, dang, how do I follow that? All I was going to say is Stevie, he has got blood on his hands because he uses his microwave dinners. That's all I was going to say. It's lackluster.
Get rid of microwaves for the children.
God, it's his fault. He's got blood on his hands. Because
all right.
That's it.
So let's finish up with the old ATF, shall we? So we opened today's video, Braden, by talking about ATF and its overreach and trying to legislate.
We did?
Through the bureaucracy, trying to take on the role of Congress itself. And we talked about Chevron deference and stuff like that. Wouldn't it be nice if ATF just relegated itself to maybe public service announcements and didn't try to pass laws on its own? Number 13, Doc. I thought this was rather refreshing. ATF HQ. Securely storing firearms when not in use is one of the most important responsibilities of gun ownership. Safe storage can prevent guns from being stolen and misused by a criminal or accidentally picked up by a child. More here and link to ATF. I can't disagree with that statement. If you have a firearm and you're not using it, lock it up. I mean, that's a nice public service announcement. Nowhere in here do they say, we're going to write a 1,300-page document forcing you to lock your guns up. Not yet. I'm sure that's coming.
Right.
We'll see how the Chevron deference case plays out in the SCOTUS, but it would be nice if ATF just did this. It would be refreshing.
It would be nice. You know, it's interesting, Tim. I didn't feel attacked in that.
No.
That was weird. I didn't feel blamed. I felt like it was an innocuous statement.
Right. It's just stating the obvious. Lock your guns up. That way criminals can't get a hold of them as easily and children are less likely to have accidents with them. I can't disagree with that.
Now, of course, when not in use. Now, not when you're.
No, I have a gun on. I mean,
that
carry
would be
firearms.
Silly.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You have a gun on right now. I
can whip it out. I don't want to intimidate you, though.
Don't whip it out. I'll be intimidated.
Stand back and I'll whip it out.
We've had so many phallic jokes this week. Man, we hit our quota of penis jokes.
Oh, anyway. So, old ATF, could you
Oh
please just
man,
stick to public service announcements and stop with trying to legislate from the bureaucracy and
that's true.
stealing our rights through 1,300-page documents? We'd get
Mhm.
along so
Yeah,
much better.
we just had a full load of penis jokes this week. I'll tell you, man.
Full load. All right, that's enough. Folks, I'm going to end it here. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good weekend.